This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Thursday, March 11th, 2021, Pelican Preserve Advisory Committee meeting to order. Kind of good to be back, I guess.
We've been back.
Yeah, I know some of you have. I have not.
Welcome back, Phil.
Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. Okay, do the roll call. We have with us Teresa Phillips, Joe Schofield, Glenn Sikorsky, John Grega. On the phone. Can you hear us? Do we have Ron DePonte?
Yes, I'm here.
And Doug Zanter?
I am here with my Illini shirt on too.
Oh, you heard me. Go
Yes, I
Lions.
heard you. You got to watch what you say. You can hear everything.
Sorry, Doug.
That means we have a full house, so we have a quorum. And the first thing on the list is financial report. Glenn?
Yes, good afternoon. I sent you in your package December and January. We got those caught up. And the only issue or item I want to address is safety and security. Because Ron, you had questioned what we had still existing in the account. And if you look on the second page, we had spent $1,988 in the current period of January, and actual year to date was $6,000 with a budget of 23. So we're still 17,000 available for funding. I hope that answered your question, Ron.
Well, I've had some discussions with Scott, and I don't think that's really the total. These accounts are never quite synced properly, it seems. But it seems like we've spent a lot more money than that. Based on Scott's reckoning, I don't think we have much of any money left in that account for other projects.
Because of existing accounts payable?
Is Scott there?
Yes.
He's right here. He's coming to the podium.
Yeah.
Yes, the reason why it doesn't appear on these financials is because they are expensed through the O2 account, which doesn't appear on these financials. So whenever the GSCDD is billed directly, they don't appear here.
Okay,
This is only for the O&M agreement.
right.
So when we get into the larger projects, then what we come out with is having to account for those dollars just basically by an email. And when I went through the numbers and got the final engineering numbers from Chris Shoemaker, I mean, we're at $73,000 right now. And the budget's $70,000. And what really, it was the $21,000 engineering bill for the crosswalks that and the signs. Yeah, that was paid directly by the district, so I don't even see those invoices.
So run that by me again, Scott. So what eventually happens? Do they get into these reports?
They do not get into these reports.
Yeah.
They actually are going to appear on the GSCDD financials.
Right.
Not on these, because this goes through the association expense lines and is part of the funding that we do. The big projects to save sales tax go through the CDD.
Well, what I should do then is include with this every month. Now that I'm getting from the CDD, their financials,
Right.
our Pelican Preserve portion.
Yeah. The budget that I see here for $1,420,000, that's the budget, Scott, that you put together with Glenn, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Last year, yeah.
Okay, but that didn't include that line item. It didn't include.
Well,
I mean,
it is supposed to include those projects.
Yes,
But because they're paid through by the district,
yeah.
we have to account for them. They just don't appear on the financials. I know,
And it's a screwy
I
system.
know.
I know, I agree.
And they never have.
No.
Mhm.
If you go back, that has never matched up.
I think I have to put that additional financial with this so you can see the whole picture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
So let me go by that again. So when we finally see at the end of the year, this $1,420,000 actually includes those things that are paid by the CDD, but don't appear on here. Is that it?
On the year-end CDD financials, they are not posted on the financials through the O&M agreement.
Okay. But the
But
budget we look at is the O&M agreement budget.
Correct. Not the overall budget.
Okay, well, I thought what Phil was asking was if this 1.4 million is the overall budget, so it's
No.
not.
Well,
No, it's a total
it
of what's
it
here.
is a total of what we're responsible for to manage. That is correct. The problem is the reporting. When it's just like we just changed the way the police officers are being paid. Instead of coming through the district, they're going to come through the accounting for Castle, which will appear on these invoices
Mhm.
and on the financials. But on the large amounts, we have to account for the numbers as being part of this expenditures year to date.
Well, let's,
And
oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I understand that, but I know when we were putting the budget together, there was $70,000 assigned to safety and security.
Yeah.
So,
What happened?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
Is
I can-
that
So-
included?
Oh, yeah, I can tell you what happened.
So
Yeah.
you look at that 70,000 is there, see? Right, I agree.
Yeah, that's where I was coming out.
Unplanned, unbudgeted for the fence line, which was $17,878. The crosswalk was in there, but not the engineering. Doing the crosswalk was okay, and engineering was estimated to be, $5,000.
Mhm.
Well, it's $21,000.
Mhm.
So that was not budgeted for. Let's see what else. New radar sign that was approved, $4,660. That was not in the plan. The new crosswalks were, the rumble strips were. Year to date on police patrols, we're at $4,959. If we continue at that pace, the $10,000 is going to be really going to go above that budget also. Because-
But see, what's confusing?
Yeah.
There's a 70,000 yearly budget on the January income statement.
Mhm.
The variance says $17,000 to the column to the left with a year-to-date or actual spending of $6,000
Which line are you on?
on 706570.
Yep.
Safety and security.
Right,
I'm just doing that line item.
right.
So it is confusing to say, okay, we got 70,000 budgeted, but the numbers on here don't sync up.
They do, and I'll explain why.
Okay, go ahead.
That 17,000
Yep.
represents, keep in mind, we have to budget based on a 12-month period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the 12 months of underspending so far is $17,000 based on the monthly budget. So if the monthly budget for safety and security was $58.33 per month, and we've only spent $6,000 year to date, that's the difference between it. 33 times, what are we? We're in the,
January.
no, this is from October.
I know, but we got October,
November, December,
January.
January.
4 months,
4 months,
21,000.
correct. The budget year to date is 23,333.
Right, okay.
We
4
spent
months.
6,000,
We spent what?
6,000
Okay.
year to date. The difference between those two is 17,305.
Except, I understand that, but I thought what you were telling us that 6,000 doesn't include some other expenditures that we've made.
That is correct because they were paid out of the O2 account.
So where do those show up when we get and I don't have the stuff with me, but when we get the stuff from Stephen, there's a complete budget there. And that's what determines what the non-ad valorem taxes are.
Chris would have to post those into that expense line through Infomark. So it has to appear there.
Wow.
See, I'm not on that side, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure how Infomark and Chris handle that.
So
All I'm doing is, these are the actual dollars we have spent based on our budget. Although they don't get reported to this financial, they get reported to Infomarks. And how that takes place, I am not sure.
So
Well, go ahead.
go ahead. So this only includes part of what we're spending.
Yes,
Okay, but it includes the total budget.
correct.
That 70,000, for example, is the total budget for safety and security.
Correct.
So if I went to the CDD financials, which I have, and added up what we've spent there,
You should probably come out with 73,242.01.
spent already,
Yes,
We're
So we
already over the budget.
we're already
Yes.
over the budget.
yes.
Well, how are we supposed to know that when we don't get that information on our financials?
Well, and that's why I had to go back and do this activity because I didn't know. And keep one thing in mind, I don't see all the invoices that the district processes. That's part of the challenge that I have, is they approve engineering, but I don't see the invoices.
And you're saying the major reason was that 21,000
Yes,
engineering fee,
yes.
which we didn't account for
Yes.
in our budget.
Right.
Is it possible in the future to find out from the engineers what their charge is gonna be beforehand?
I would hope that the district can do that. I'll have to deal with Chris on that.
I don't recall having this problem previously.
I don't think it was ever discussed previously, the difference between our O&M operating budget
Yes.
and what the district pays directly and how it comes out year end. Because I would venture to say, if we go back and look, the numbers have never matched
No,
over 9 years.
Hey, I've been doing accounting a long time, and I was confused when I saw all this. And and I'm still trying to wrap my head around how we improve to the board the total numbers to match up better.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
we got to. So, 'cause-
Well, and the key is I got to find out what the district is paying that I don't know about.
well,
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
I'm getting the financials finally from Info
Okay,
the last 2 months.
all right.
So I can do an analysis of that and sit with you when we do this year's budget.
Yeah.
And see how we can improve this report to what we look
I
at.
was just gonna say, we
Yeah.
need to show it on one report.
That's right.
I mean, it's.
It can't be done.
Crazy,
Right
yeah.
now, right now, we can feel good and
Yeah.
be totally wrong.
And that's why I picked on the safety and
Yeah.
security
Yeah,
line item because
Yes.
we've overspent.
Yes.
And that's one of those line items that requires the district involvement for payment.
Yes.
And that's the other things that we were working on over the years, like fountains, irrigation,
Yeah.
aerators. That's what we've been working on with the district and Bob Gephardt and Lakes and Ponds, because there were things that were being paid and it was coming out of the wrong area.
Well, but of course, the ponds budget is a separate, that's a separate
I
item.
know.
Yep.
That's not this.
And that's even,
That I understand.
yeah.
And there's an overhead budget, there's a ponds budget.
Okay,
Wait, Ron, are you aware of the numbers that were coming out of?
Only since Scott did that analysis that he just talked about.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Ron? Repeat?
All right, I obviously knew about the engineering costs because we collectively saw that billing, if you will, from Tetra Tech. We saw that. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to find out if there was any other money left of the 70,000. And that's why I went to Scott, to do that a little bit of analysis that he just did. And as it turns out, we don't have any money left in that account.
So Scott, there are just certain lines that this applies to, is that right? Certain accounts?
Yes,
Where the district pays the invoices?
yes. And that was everything tied to this expense line, believe it or not.
Mhm.
Had to do with all our special projects that, like when we do signs, I pay for the signs through the O&M agreement.
Mhm.
But I don't do the major projects and engineering. And we just changed the police work.
Over to the district.
Yes,
Yes.
now I get those invoices because that's where this question started to come up. Well, how much have we spent on patrols?
Mhm.
Well, Ron and I discussed, well, I have no way of knowing. We have to go to Infomark to find that out because it doesn't appear on this line.
But it's an 002 account charge.
Yes.
If you recall, when we had that discussion about the police funding, that came about because the CDD guys were saying that we didn't have enough money to continue paying the police. And I knew that wasn't accurate because we had it as part of the $70,000. And they didn't recognize these account numbers that you see on your screen. They didn't recognize those numbers at all. So we had to go through a couple of circles before we finally figured out how to straighten out the police funding. And it just adds on to the confusion factor now with the fact that we actually don't have any money left in that account and we're actually overspent by about $3,000 or $4,000.
Well, I'm asking this question of you, Ron, and of John, a couple of people who've been on this thing for a long time. The three of us, at least, you and I and John. Do you remember this previously happening?
What I remember, and if you recall, every year I would go through the same discussion. It wasn't on this particular line, but just in general. At the end of the year, how much money did we spend versus how much did we budget it, and did we have money left over, and where is it? And I kept asking those questions even at the beginning of this year about what's the unallocated dollars, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not positive, but I think we finally got that kind of under control, I think. Still not positive about that. And that just, and this is just one subset of that kind of discussion.
All right, Ron, one of the other things, which I think we discussed briefly at the last meeting, was prior to this, well, years ago, the police would come in on their own and they were not paid.
Yeah.
And the discussion was, and I assume you brought it up, we should probably have a little bit more police presence. And now we are paying the police to be here. But do we have to pay them every time? I mean, the city of Fort Myers had the police in here usually 2 or 3 times a month.
That's a different issue, John. We're now dealing with the accounting.
Well,
Yeah.
but previously we didn't have that much money in the budget for the police.
We didn't have any money in the budget for the police until we had the agreement between the CDD and the Fort Myers Police Department to add additional patrols. And it's only the additional patrols that we pay for. not the normal patrols that they were doing already.
And if you go back 4 or 5 years, we didn't buy extra
Correct,
protection. We
correct.
only had the regular patrols. This is, we agreed that this was additional, these were additional patrols.
But do we control how often they come in?
Yes.
Yes.
Only with the additional patrols, not for their normal patrol. And we don't control that at all.
How
Only
many
the
normal
additional.
are we getting right now?
Say that again?
How many normal patrols that we do not have to pay for are we getting per month?
I have no idea.
John, I've talked to the police about this, and I don't have a perfect answer, but the police set up their patrols throughout Fort Myers based on their staffing and where they have the hot spots, and they patrol the hot spots. Pelican Preserve is considered a non-hot spot and very lightly patrolled at best. And that's a floating number. It could be 30 times a month. It could be 10 times a month, depending on the demands of the police department. The extra patrols are what, as Ron has said, we have contracted for and pay them. And I suspect that when you see a cop sitting there for an hour on the side of the road doing a speed check, or that's one that we're paying for. Normally, their patrols aren't focused on traffic. Their patrols are focused on driving through the community and just checking and making a presence seen. At least that's what I've been told by the police department.
And we have no control over that.
No.
We have no control over that. I know you don't like that, John, but we don't have any control. What I'd like to get back to, though, is the accounting.
Yeah, I'd like to know where the numbers are.
Well, the numbers are there. It's just that we've got an organization here keeping one set of books.
Yeah.
We have another one here doing the other set of books. So we have to construct maybe similar to this Excel sheet to show that together.
Exactly.
I
We need to get them on the same report.
Exactly. I
What-
agree.
And what we have to do is get that from Infomark, and then Glenn can give me the number and I'll plug the number in.
Yeah, and I'm looking here, I got January of 21 Infomark's financials, so I'll look at that and deal with you so we can
Okay.
make this a little more informative.
Now,
All
I know Glenn and Teresa weren't here, or Doug at this time, but I mean, it's part of this cleanup. We're still going through. Remember the funding request? And how that all got messed up over the years?
Mhm.
This is just something
That's
else
part
that has come up dealing with two entities.
Yeah, it's because, and they use Infomark, which is
Yes.
an outside service
Right.
too.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with that.
Yep.
Yep.
So we'll get it figured out.
Okay.
I know, I'm
Okay.
confident.
Well,
The other thing I wanted to say was, like, you look at line item 706,515, manned access control.
Right.
That's the Securitas contract,
right.
to 33,500 a month. Chris is not here today, but you saw Phil, I wanted to mention this before I finish. We're looking at moving that over to Gateway.
Into the same
Yes.
Infomark accounts.
And the reason is at 6.5%,
Oh, yeah.
right? You know that.
Oh, yeah. Doing that all makes sense. It's just a matter of getting it all on the same sheet of paper.
Yeah, and then if I can do that, I'm gonna put in a claim with the state of Florida to recover 3 years of that overpaid sales tax,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So, and then we're going on vacation. No, just kidding.
I
Anyways,
have,
We voted on
yeah,
I have a question on that. Is there a way to transfer the budget? Because it seems weird. It's like there's two spreadsheets, but all the budget is in one of them. And a lot of the expenses, at least for security, hits a different one. Is there a way when you move that over there to transfer the budget somehow over there and we can add the two total together that way?
This is the budget, Doug. What
Yeah,
you're
but we don't see, it is the budget, but we don't see the expenses against it.
Right. So it's not, we don't have to transfer any budget. We just have to get the expenses.
the expenses
We
lined
got to
up.
get the expenses lined up with these budget numbers.
We got to get a report from Infomark.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And if
Need
we
one
transfer
report, right?
2,500, we'll have to account for that on a month-to-month
Right.
basis.
Well, even if we don't get that approval to allow Gateway to pay that invoice, because Chris is looking into if we can utilize the government entity sales tax exemption number
Mhm.
to not pay that sales tax. Because if it's billed to Pelican as it is right now, we got to pay that sales tax.
Yes.
So, and we'll line that up to depending on, to me, it doesn't matter. Once you get the Excel sheet or the budget lined up, you just amalgamate the two sources of funds and get a total number.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Makes
all
sense.
right.
Okay,
Yep.
let me, so having said that, the Infomark thing is a contract amount, but we're over the budget. Is that because of extra people we put on?
That's the seasonal staffing.
staff,
That
that's
goes
what I
on
thought.
for 6 months, so
Yeah.
you do run a higher number
Okay,
in season, and then
Yeah.
you're gonna run a lower number.
okay.
What's the total we have now spent on safety, security? 73,000?
Seriously.
Currently, yes.
Sorry, well, let's get one conversation going here. Joe, what was your question?
I just wanted to confirm how much we actually had spent on safety and security. It's somewhere about $73,000.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you got to put that 21,000 in there.
Yes, sure.
That's what's kicked it over.
Yeah.
But we can pay those future invoices till the end of our year yet. It's just that our budget will be off because of
Yeah.
that.
What, in total, right now, according to this thing, we're 92,000 under budget. Obviously, there are things that were not accounted for here.
True.
So,
The only thing that's not accounted for is the remainder of the safety and security budget.
Yeah.
Everything else is strictly timing.
Okay.
Such as mulch, that's not done every month, but there's a budget line
Okay.
showing every
Okay.
month as an expense.
so the 21,000, so we're really being, rather than 91,000 under budget, we're really 70,000 under budget year to date, according to,
Well, if you kick off the 21, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. That's enough about numbers. Thank you.
Glenn, anything more? Any questions of Glenn? Okay, we have 3 sets of minutes to approve. And lots of, Teresa, you made lots of changes in there, which is good. Let's start off with the January 14th minutes. Any changes or additions to what was published? Okay, I would entertain a motion to accept the January 14th minutes.
Hey, Phil, before you go on, did you guys pass the motion to allow Doug and myself to vote?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Ron, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah.
Also,
Can I have
Doug,
a motion to allow Doug and Ron to vote?
I'll move.
Teresa moves it.
I'll second.
Glenn seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 5-0, that passes. So you guys are included, Ron.
Thank you.
January 14th. Any corrections, additions? If not, we have a motion to accept them as they're written. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Doug and Ron?
I had to abstain because I wasn't there.
Okay. 1 abstention. Okay.
I really wasn't there either, I guess.
You didn't attend January either then? Okay, they pass 5-0. Next set of minutes are the ones for the meeting we had, special meeting we had on the Boardwalk. And those are dated
February 2nd.
January 2nd. Yep.
February 2nd.
Or February 2nd, yeah. Any corrections or additions to those? If not, I'll take a motion to accept them.
I'll put in the motion.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
John seconds it. Glenn makes a motion. John seconds it. Any discussion? I assume not. All in favor?
Aye.
Doug and Ron, were you both there for that one?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Okay. Finally, the February 11th minutes. Any corrections or additions to those? If not, motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to
John,
approve.
John,
I'll second.
11 seconds. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, those pass 7-0. Okay,
I have a general question
Sure.
regarding minutes.
Yep.
We used to say who was attending. Is it really, it doesn't say that here, does it?
Some of them do. The one we just approved does.
But the other one,
The other ones, some of them did not.
is that because some of them were attended virtually or?
well, no, I mean, the listing at the top should cover the people who were attending.
It's the total committee, isn't it? As Ron mentioned on one of them, his name was up there.
You're right.
My name was not listed on the minutes.
Yeah, his name isn't
His
listed on the
name isn't
January
listed.
14th minute.
So January,
And my name is not listed on this. This was the meeting I was at Disney World.
But your name is listed, Doug.
No,
No,
Not on-
January
Yeah.
14th.
not on the one, not the one right here. I don't see it.
The January 14th minutes, Doug's name is on it.
but
Okay.
Doug's name is not on the February 11th minutes. And I think that's when you were away, Doug, wasn't it?
The last meeting was the one I was at Disney. I was away, yes.
Right.
February 11th, and your name is not on here. So John,
Right.
I think we try and get the committee members on
Okay.
there, okay?
Yeah.
I thought on this January meeting is when I got on the committee, but I was there, but I didn't know if I was a member because I wasn't at the start of the meeting.
Yeah, he was elected to the committee at that
At
meeting.
that
Yeah,
meeting.
but we made him the
So
vice
should-
chairman or chairman. or
Before he was
something to allow him to do something.
Yeah, so he should be listed on there.
Okay,
Yeah, he was actually participating.
yep.
Your point is well taken, John. Okay. Got those straightened out. Teresa, thank you for getting these things in shape.
Sure thing.
Okay, we're on to the Palazzo Way conversion, and we agreed, or somewhat agreed at the last meeting, that we would continue with that conversion. However, I think we need to drop back a little because there are expenses related to that. Scott sent us a thing, the price to mow and maintain the landscaping, but there are other expenses involved. Is that correct, Scott? We have,
That is correct.
are there parking places now? Mike, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, Mike Lamphere, I'm the president of Palazzo 1 and 2, the Master Association there. And it's Frank Mignon, who's our vice president. Yeah, I saw the emails that you had forwarded to me and read them. And certainly it's not our intent to have anything other than the road, the street lights, and storm sewers taken over. Now, Palazzo as a neighborhood was designed to be a 220 door association, okay? And then because of the constraints that were put on the builder by state law, it took too long to build it, okay? So then they divided it up and made it Palazzo 1 and 2, okay? And Palazzo 1 being the oldest buildings, 5, 6, and 7. And then Palazzo 2 was buildings 3 and 4. So thus we have a budget for Palazzo 1 and a budget for Palazzo 2. And down the road, then, they built Palazzo 3 and 4. They took the other remaining 5 buildings and divided it into 2 more associations, okay? But Palazzo 1 and 2 is the master association. But when they divided up the property, when they divided it into the 3 associations, it was under my impression that they were, the land was ceded to Palazzo 3 and 4, certain areas, okay? And just the pool, the common amenities, and the infrastructure in the road was still with Palazzo 1 and 2, which it is, okay? That's needed to us. We currently are doing all of the landscaping there, okay? Palazzo 3 does their section, Palazzo 4 does their section, and 1 and 2 does their section. And we weren't asking for any of that. And as far as the parking lots, we are certainly agreeable to maintaining our own parking lots and striping them and all of that, and our carports and things of that nature. What we were really looking for is basically the road, the storm sewers, the street lighting, and the sidewalk that goes up to the end of building 2, okay? Because that's part of the sidewalk that just extends from Pelican Reserve Boulevard. It just covers 2 buildings, okay? But even that is negotiable in our point. You know, we're really just after the road, the lighting, and the storm sewers. Because those are the big ticket items for us. If something we have to repave or do something, maintain, or get a break in the storm sewers or something of that nature. With regards to landscaping and all of that, I mean, we're budgeted for that. We handle that. We're not asking for any of that. Same thing with the parking lots.
Mike, I somewhat recollect that Chris explained that to us, to the board, that that's what it was also. And that's how I understood it. We were taking the road, the lighting, the storm sewers, and but we weren't getting involved with landscaping or parking lots. That was my understanding, and I could be slightly wrong, but I thought that's what Chris
Okay,
had explained to us.
I think you may be right, Joe. What the problem I think we have is that you've got the plat includes everything. So if you transfer the plat, then you transfer everything, which includes all the ancillary stuff, if I may talk about it. And it seems to me that we might have to have some kind of a joint use agreement.
That would be fine with us, okay?
To say that we're taking this stuff, but we have a joint use agreement with Palazzo 1 and 2 to maintain the parts of the parts that we're not, that, you know, we don't want to maintain.
We've been doing it for years. We're not going to let it go to, you know, we're not going to neglect it by any means.
Let me ask, if we do that, the process most likely would include the CDD attorney to write something.
Absolutely. Well,
And your attorney would probably have to review it also. So there's going to be an expense to you for that, also to us.
We would, you know, we have currently in our budget, we have for, in our common amenity budget, you know, we have funds that are set aside for the roads. And I would assume, I'd have to talk to council first, but I would assume we could use some of that money to defer cost of any legal fees that we have. Okay, because we're, you know, we just want to get out from under that, and we're willing to cooperate any way that you require. We're not trying to stick it to anybody or anything like that.
we would have legal expenses anyway, Joe.
Yeah, oh, I agree.
Just to make the transfer.
Right. I just wanted to point out that we would have to have.
Yes.
Bottom line
The
is,
CDD attorney most likely would have final say on whether we can do this or not do it, is my concern, because sometimes we've been somewhat surprised by his judgments.
Yep.
we have not reached out to our attorney with regards to this, and this is Damzek, the same one that the board uses, okay? We haven't reached out to him about this, because first I wanted to get your folks support in this, okay? Because could have been a tough road to hoe if I didn't have your support, okay? But, we're agreeable to, paying any legal costs that we would have to pay, okay? We can handle that. We just want to get this changed. WCI basically ignored this, okay? And why they did it that way was simply the boilerplate language because of how Ravenna and Sienna was set up, okay? And then they included the whole thing. I knew it was an oversight at the time, but they, they weren't gonna, they said it would be better off, for us to handle it because they didn't want to pay for anything, so.
What, I'm trying to get a handle on what other expenses we know that Scott has given us this. It would cost $10,080 a year.
For the life of me, I can't imagine why it would cost $10,000, okay, to do that. The landscaping there's very little landscaping that's involved other than the island at the end of the cul-de-sac.
That's for the year.
Yeah, even for the year, right?
That's the mowing price, the 36 mows a year.
But if we accept that, you know, if we can get some kind of a shared agreement, you know, you won't have that cost at all. And same thing with the irrigation, as far as fixing irrigation pipes, we do that now.
So then you would propose that we take over just the road and the,
Streetlights and the storm sewer, the sidewalk that extends out goes to, goes up to building 2. If you look at the map here, buildings 1 and 2 are not on here. Okay, that would be to your left as you're looking at the map. Buildings, and the sidewalk stops at buildings 1 and 2. It just, before it hits the building 3, the sidewalk ends. And then we go into a private sidewalk by the carports.
so what we would have to include would be really basically include this in our reserves. There would be no, are we saying you're willing to take all the ongoing expenses?
With the exception of the road, the streetlights and the storm sewers.
What about the CDD on CDD roads? Sometime will not put let's say an asphalt sealer on it. They wait and wait and wait. And then the road deteriorates to the point where it really has to be redone. Now, in our community, we pay to put the sealer on it every 3 years, every 2 years. And that road holds up. And there's a big difference, let's say, in our community versus some of the others that don't do that, but we pay for it ourselves.
We are not asking for anything.
No, what I'm saying is sometime you may want to reseal that
Well, then
road.
we do it. What's the difference between you doing yours in your neighborhood, who is managed by the CDD, and us doing it in our
No, I'm
neighborhood?
saying ours is our homeowners association pays to reseal the road.
I understand
Mike's
that, sir.
saying they could
Yeah,
do
What I'm
that.
saying is,
Makes sense.
Well,
we
you
can do
may
the
want
same
to
thing.
do that.
We can do the same thing that you're doing,
Yeah.
okay? The difference is that if your storm sewer goes bad, or if you need to be
Oh, I agree.
repaved, the CDD handles that.
Yes.
If you get a light bulb that goes out on your street lights, you know, you call up and you get that done, and the CDD handles that right now. Right now, all of that is on us, okay?
You're the only ones that have that issue.
The only one in the entire
Community.
Pelican Preserve community.
Doesn't would Sienna, Mike, and Ravenna have the same issue for the same type of infrastructure?
For the side, no, the only thing that they have at Sienna and Ravenna is they have that side drive that's up by their carports. Okay, it's that private road that they have going in there. We have the
Right.
same with Palazzo 3 and 4, okay? And that's not what we're asking for. All we're asking is for Palazzo Way, okay?
Yeah.
Which is an extension of Pelican Preserve Boulevard. That's all we're asking for.
Yeah.
We just want a fair shake, and we pay our taxes just like everybody else, and we get nothing, you know.
Doug, to make that clear, those are private, in both Ravenna and Sienna, those are private roads.
Yep.
So we have nothing to do with, the CDD has nothing to do with that.
In our case, they made the whole Pelican, Palazzo Way a private road, okay? And that's what we're asking to be relieved from.
So when we look at the expense of doing this, and I think we've got to go into this with our eyes open, there's more to it, even the way, so you're willing to do the landscaping.
Sure.
So what we need to know is lighting. I guess we would pay for the lights. Is that right, Scott?
Yeah, the occasional light repairs, and then everything else would be capital.
How about,
Because it would,
how about the electric?
the electric goes along with the light posts.
Here's an interesting fact. Throughout all of Pelican Reserve, okay, with the exception of Pelican Reserve Boulevard, and I believe Cypress Cove, those are all West Coast lighting. Okay, the rest of it is for power and light. Plaza Way, West Coast lighting. Same thing as Pelican Reserve Boulevard. Installed by West Coast Lighting, maintained by West Coast Lighting, paid for Palazzo pays for.
So do we have any feel for how much the lighting would cost? I mean, I guess that's the only ongoing expense.
Negligible.
Huh?
Negligible.
Is it negligible?
Yes.
Okay.
Are they all CDD? I mean,
LED.
LED lighting?
changed if an LED or not.
So it was just Florida Power and Light that, I didn't realize we had two electric companies in
Oh,
the
yes.
community.
Well, no, we have one electric company. We have different owners of the streetlights. In the neighborhoods, that is on the month-to-month electrical bill as a usage fee for the streetlights. We have 301 streetlights owned by FPL.
And
The
then-
remainder streetlights, the decorative lights on the main thoroughfares, those are owned by the CDD.
And I'll give you an interesting story. After Irma, two of our lights were damaged, our street lights were damaged. I put in for a Florida Power and Light to come out and repair them. They gave me a work order number and everything. And every couple of weeks I would call and say, this hasn't been repaired yet. And they said, be patient, you know, we'll call you when it's repaired. I said, well, I can look out my door and tell you when it's been repaired because the light goes on, you know. But this went on for about 3 months. So finally, a guy from Florida Power and Light showed up one day and he said, come here, mister. He said, let me explain it to you. He says, we didn't put these lights in. We don't maintain these lights. This is West Coast Lighting, which is the same lighting company that does Pelican Reserve Boulevard and San Francisco.
So the power is supplied by Florida Power and Light, but the
Yes.
maintenance is done by,
That is correct.
the cloud has shifted a little.
Yeah, they made a soup sandwich out of this, gentlemen. I'm sorry to be laying it on your doorsteps here.
Mike,
but
there's
I'm
nothing
looking for
new
some
about
help.
the soup. It's thick.
What I would suggest here, Joe, would you be willing to take on pursuing this with finding out, I guess, Tony's the first person to go to?
Yes, I would be happy to do that.
And work on, so that we can put together a proposal to the board to do this.
You tell me what you would like me to do or when you would like
Okay,
me to
well-
get with my attorney,
Okay.
okay? Because we'll
We'll
do
ask
whatever we can.
ask you to work with Joe.
Okay,
Mike, we'll
Joe.
get together. I'll call you this evening and we can start talking a little bit.
Huh?
Is that
Very
the
good, sir.
final list?
Let's make it tomorrow. It's poker night tonight, so I won't be around. Okay.
Can I have some of the winnings? I'm assuming you're a winner.
It's a $20 game. So it won't buy you
Yeah,
a beer.
listen.
Matter of fact, when you host the party, it costs you more than you could possibly make.
Okay, one other question.
Write your contact
Sure.
information there, will you?
Hey, Joe, I'll get you because on the storm sewers, we clean about every third, a third of them every year. So I'll get you whatever those expenses would be. So it will be a total that'll be included in there.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, Doug, please? We missed some of it.
We clean the storm sewers, a third of them every year. So there will be some incremental expense to the pond's budget. I will just tell you, I'll get you what those numbers would be per storm drain.
Okay. So that's some of the amount you need to provide to Joe.
Yeah, that's why I said I'll get that data to Joe.
Okay, sounds good.
And
Thank you, Doug.
And Scott, is it even worth figuring out what the electric?
I can do that.
Okay, Scott will get the electric.
but as far as the irrigation goes and the landscaping goes, we're already doing it. We're already budgeted for it. We've been doing it since Jump Street, you know,
Okay. So what you have to do is this joint use agreement. Is that satisfactory to the committee?
Oh, I think that's very good. Very good.
All right. So we'll be putting together a proposal to go to the CDD, assuming that we don't run into any problems, legal problems.
Yeah.
well, how could that possibly happen, guys?
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, look, I want to thank you, gentlemen and lady, for your time. Go Illinois, okay? And Illinois person myself, so. And want to thank you for your time and any help that you can give us. And we are certainly will be cooperative to work with you. Okay.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for
Thank
your
you, Mike.
time, guys.
Thank you very much. Okay. Next thing is the construction road conversion status. I just wanted to catch you up on that. There are still lots of moving parts. We still have to get the DRI amended. But one of the other things we have to do, which I wanted to inform you about because you'll be hearing about it. It turns out that some of the land
on which the road will be constructed currently belongs to the Community Association, the PPCA. And in order for the CDD to be able to use these fire impact fee amounts, they have to own the whole road. So we have to make a small land transfer from the Community Association to the CDD. And it turns out in order to do that, we have to have a vote of the entire membership.
Ugh.
So we are going to be going through, in fact, we're already planning for it. We're going to be calling a special meeting in April, in which we are going to be asking people to vote to transfer the land to the CDD. I would remind you that we got a positive, about a 95% positive vote on, or not vote, but kind of a straw vote, positive reaction to doing this project. So this is just effectively.
Was that from the whole
confirming-
membership or just Prado Pistoia?
That was from the whole membership.
Oh, okay.
And this needs to be from the whole membership
Mhm.
because it's a community association property.
Okay.
Good luck explaining that one.
All right, I assume that the construction of the road would be no different than the community that it enters. In other words, you're not going to make a 4-lane road going into the 2-lane road. Is that correct?
The last I heard from the engineering
Yes.
was it's going to be an 18-foot wide,
18-foot, right.
not a
Not a
22-foot
20.
like it was.
Okay.
Or I thought 16 versus
Oh,
20.
maybe,
I think it's
maybe
gonna
it
be
was
16 foot.
Oh, okay, maybe it's 16. I know it was reduced significantly.
In other words, they're gonna make it, just what they need, the engineers need to have, what they require.
Is the land at the entrance of Gateway or owned by the AC or the CA? Or is it all along the same road?
I think it's all along the same road.
So, okay.
Is that right, Scott?
The land PPCA owns is directly behind Prado.
Right.
Oh,
So that area between Prado, fence line, and the ski resort,
yeah.
yes,
The ski resort.
otherwise known as a landfill.
Oh,
That road,
Freshmore.
I call it the ski resort. That road terminates as far as ownership where the
Where-
guard shack is.
Oh,
and the
From that
paving
point
starts.
out is owned by WCI.
oh.
There is no landfill. When I asked my salesperson about that, she said she knew nothing about it.
I told you it was a ski resort.
Right, well, I used the wrong term. I just asked her what I was looking at on
You-
Google Map.
Scott, what we're saying is we're going to own more of the road on the other side of the fence going towards
No,
the
no,
dump.
no, no.
It's gonna
No.
be transferred.
It's gonna be transferred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they need that land in order to pave the road.
No,
No.
they need that land. Yes, they need that land to
Yes.
pave the road, but they need,
Yeah,
but it's gotta belong to the CDD to be able to use these fire impact.
Why do they
fees.
need that land to pave the road?
Not pave the
No, no.
road to get the impact fees.
yes. To pay for the road.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
I can see that. Why? They want to own the land. They should.
Yeah, we don't need it.
No.
it's,
No, we should have taken the Lennar part of the road. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
We should have taken the Lennar part of the road and taken on the responsibility ourselves so that Gateway would be out of it.
Too late now.
It's too late now. You're right.
You have a very good point.
There won't be an
Absolutely.
exchange of money though, right?
No. it's
Just a
not.
transfer.
It's just a transfer. It's not exchange of money, and what it's doing is it's saving us potentially $600,000 for Gateway and our part of Gateway in order to construct the road. John, you're still,
Well, I have another
Stewing.
question for Scott
Yeah,
on
go
that
ahead.
road, that's all.
go ahead.
The gate that's on that road now,
yes,
is it supposed to be locked and only open for specific construction vehicles?
yes. It's not locked. It's open by Lennar. right before 7 a.m. and it closes at 5 p.m.
Usually.
Usually,
All right, and there is a guard there.
yes,
Who pays for the guard?
Lennar.
Okay. So that's not
They,
coming
they
out.
have, they have a separate contract with Securitas.
All right, because I woke them up one time.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I was gonna say, and the guard is usually there.
yeah, usually,
And
unless he's
So
in the
it's not
porta
up to
potty.
him to open the gate.
Yes. Open and lock it at night, and then our officer patrols that in the middle of the night to check it.
All right. Vehicles that are not construction vehicles, what does that guard say to those vehicles going up and down that road?
You're not supposed to come up and down the road, but again, they don't stop at the stop sign and check in with the guard as construction vehicles do. They basically just drive past and keep going.
So, I mean, does the guard do anything? I mean,
Just checks.
I took one bike ride, which what is 20 minutes?
Yeah.
If it's that, I'd go slow. I saw 6 vehicles going
Yeah.
up and down that road in a 15-minute time.
Yeah.
I
John,
haven't seen
John,
any, but I,
And
When-
again, that is owned by Lennar, controlled by Lennar. And the good thing is that's going to go away in about 3 months. And that road's going to be closed to all traffic after Lennar leaves.
I
talked-
went in and out of that exit numerous times early on, and there was no guard there. And one time when I'm coming back from the vet, there's a guard there, and he stops me and he tells me I can't go any further because that road is only supposed to have vehicles on it that weigh X amount of pounds.
Construction.
And I
Construction vehicles.
argued with him until I was blue in the face, and then I finally peeled out and left because I was mad.
I took time to go talk to one of the people that was a guard there. He was a very interesting gentleman. He copied license plate numbers, but as he said, I can only tell people, but it's just like going into a store without a mask. The employees aren't going to enforce it. They'll tell you, and that's the end of it. They don't get into confrontations. And there's probably a myriad of people acting as guards there. And
But as I understand it, when we complete this project, there'll be an actual gate there
Mhm.
too, right?
Yes.
You won't be able to get through that gate.
No.
So that'll
No.
stop.
well, when the gate's locked, you can't get through it now
That's true.
theoretically. Although I understand people could ride bicycles around the fence somehow.
Well-
I didn't go and investigate it, but when that gate's down, vehicles cannot go through. But if the guard doesn't lock it,
As a matter of interest, John, this very subject came up at the President's Council meeting today, and they asked Scott to describe what happens. And the fact of the matter is, yes, it is being used by people. They're not supposed to, but they're doing it. And they're pretty much not being stopped.
Yes, pretty much so.
But it's gonna stop soon.
Yeah.
Well, the challenge is going to be for everybody, once that new cantilever gate is put in at the end of Prado Drive, where you turn right to leave the community, there's going to be a gate there, the size of the fence, and it's going to be on a track, and it's going to be sealed. You're not going to be able to walk. You're not going to be able to ride a bike. You may be able to climb the fence if you'd like, but
Now, I gotta ask though, where do I come out?
On Gateway.
On
Gateway,
Gateway?
yeah, you come out on Gateway Boulevard.
Boy, that's a lot of time
Does it?
off.
It sure
I've never
does.
gone that way. I've never used it.
Go back that way.
Where's your sense of curiosity?
Well, it's very bumpy,
Oh,
but
yeah.
for a kid that grew up in the country,
Well, yeah.
I mean, there isn't any
So you-
pothole I can't handle.
So you got poor shocks on your car.
It's not like a good gravel road in Illinois or Iowa, I will say that.
I
All
There
right,
are
I-
really excellent gravel
Thank you.
roads.
No, I think to get the land makes sense.
Don't take your car.
Anyway, all of the ancillary comments will be stricken from the minutes.
Okay, yes, they will. I'll guarantee you
Yeah,
that.
you got,
So we
the
can all
one-
vote, we can
the
all
one
vote
where
in
you
favor
peeled
and
away
nay.
is not gonna be included.
Okay. In any event, this will not be very costly for for our community in any way, so.
Phil, is there a percentage of people you need to have vote yes for this?
Well, we have to have a majority vote yes, and we also have to have a quorum, just as for the
Yeah, okay.
election that we're currently conducting. We have to have a quorum for that, which is 750 votes. We have already achieved the quorum for the upcoming annual meeting for that.
They're gonna read about that land transfer and go, hey,
Yeah, well, we're working on how to explain it
I guess.
in relatively simple terms, not only explain it, but explain the advantage of putting the road.
Well, if you lived over there and had a heart attack, you'd know what the advantage.
Phil, I sent you an update on the mailing.
Oh,
So,
okay,
yeah.
thank you.
More in layman's terms, the
Yeah.
proxy's still, legal
Yeah.
terms. Yeah.
Well, and just stress that it's not gonna cost them anything.
Right.
because-
Oh, that's the big thing.
We are, just as we have been with the annual meeting, we'll be doing lots of publicity on this thing, a lot of reminders, just to get the vote out.
I think the most important thing anybody needs to know is it's an emergency exit if the front gate is locked. And if we don't have that, you're stuck, period. And I think everybody can relate to that.
Okay, any further questions on that? CDD report, Chris is not here, so I guess there is no CDD report, and Georgia departed quickly, so she didn't have to make it. Scott?
Well, they did say at the meeting was it the 18th? I don't remember.
What?
Oh,
The-
last meeting I went to,
Yeah,
the Tinkle and Shoemaker are meeting with the water district and others about the construction road. And that so far Lennar is a big fat no on contribution for the road.
Right.
So that's all I got.
Of course, okay. Associate manager report and Securitas. Scott, you're on.
All right. I'll start off with the Boardwalk construction maps. Now, the one I'm going to reference is the first map only. The other one just provides you additional details and a closer section of the area that I'm referring to on this overall map. It's the one with the red and green lines.
Part of that package. Did you get it, Joe?
Did you give Glenn a
I'm just
package?
trying to, this is not in the, I have the.
Oh, you got the.
Well, pass that.
Glenn needs one.
This
Oh,
is, this is not on our screen.
Oh,
by
here,
the
I'll
way.
use this. Here, I got it.
okay.
Go
You got
ahead,
it.
sorry.
We got him. Go ahead.
So if you've all gotten to that first map,
Mhm.
the red markings, the lines on there represents the areas that'll be closed to residential traffic during the construction. So that includes the entire turn path behind Sienna and the entire southern cart path over the two bridges behind Vicenja and the sales center. The green markings represents the storage and staging areas. We did sign the easement use agreement with Sienna. The district approved it, Sienna president approved it, and we're going to be using some of that cart path that is owned by Sienna for staging and material storage. The majority of the transportation of materials will occur either on the northernmost side cart path, where the cart path comes out at Sienna, or on the southern area behind the sales center. We are also going to use one half of the parking lot of the sales center. I sent a communication out to the PPCA board. Lennar has basically left the community. They have no sales staff, so on an average, there are 6 cars in the parking lot per day. Most of those are, well, 3 of them are Castle employees. So we're going to use that area as a staging area.
That's great.
The porta potty will be where it was last time. It'll be on the cart path behind the sales center. So it will not affect any residential areas.
Just one?
Just one.
Wow.
Bikers can't use
The project, once we come up on a specific start date, it will be communicated to everyone. Timetable is 6 months to demolish and to rebuild the boardwalk.
Big job.
It is a big job and it's a complicated job. Not as much as building it, but the demolition and removing all the material out of the preserve is going to be a challenge for them. Right now it's in permitting. Part of the permit process will be also engaging Southwest Florida Water Management District because it is a natural preserve area. So they will have some oversight, but normally, since it's not a new structure, it's a replacement of an existing structure, there shouldn't be too much problem with the district. But that's how I wanted to update you as we get closer. I'll be sending this communication out to the entire community, reminding them that those areas are closed.
Effective date?
I will provide that as soon as I have an effective date.
All right.
It will come, it's going to be sometime in April, but it depends on the permits. So once I have that information, I'll let you know first, and I'll let the PPCA board know at the same time. And then the community will be given the announcement.
So most of the work will be done during the summertime.
Yes. So we'll start in April. We'll end by October.
That's good.
So mostly it's low season.
Yeah.
Good.
The challenge will be is rainy season will provide delays. They're going to work Monday through Friday, 7 to 5, 7 to 6, but they may have to come in on Saturdays if they have too many rain days that they have to make up for.
It's gonna be interesting to see how they cart the demolition material to where they're gonna put it in a bin or whatever.
They're called roller dumpsters. They're
Yeah.
small dumpsters.
Oh, really?
Yes, they're going to use a series of roller dumpsters, and you have to move the roller dumpsters to a pickup area. That's what the parking lot's for. So you're going to see all kinds of roller dumpsters there. And they said, well, we'll call for pickup. And I said, is it same day pickup? And he laughed. He goes, no, it's more like 72 hours. I go, okay, well, you'll have to manage that.
How do they get them to the roller dumpsters though? In a cart or something?
Yes, with carts.
I might get a job carrying demolition material for the summer. Oh.
Thank you. He has a full-time job is what you said. Okay. Any questions on the construction plan? I've walked the property with the contractor. I only need to do one more walkthrough before construction starts, and that's with the contractor and the engineer. On my end, I'm all ready to go. We're working out the payment schedule with Chris Shoemaker and Infomark, so they have a certain draw schedule. So it'll be pretty automatic for all of you.
Well, it's been a long time coming.
Yes.
Needs to be done.
The next part in your package should be traffic counts. We talked about traffic counts and the trap gate. As you noticed, the trap gate is still engaged, but we're not having a large problem with traffic backups. The reason is we're not in season as far as seasonal traffic. Our high traffic count was 78,000 in January. In February, we dropped to a little over 60,000, which is closer to October's numbers than the middle of season.
Surprising.
So
'Cause I was always under the impression that the high months down here were February and March,
yes,
not January. So that's a surprising.
yes, it is a surprising number for us too.
Yeah, it's 36,000 less than February of 20. That's got to be COVID related.
It is.
Yeah, I was going to say there's no spring training, very limited capacity for spring training games.
Mhm. Okay.
That's a big drop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So keeping the trap gate engaged will only create maybe a mild inconvenience for our owners. It's not a backup by any means. Oh, and the other thing to keep in mind, another item driving these numbers is there are no large groups and parties coming in the months of February. We have a garage sale coming up that's for residents only instead of open to the public. So again, our traffic is going to be down again in March.
Yeah, we didn't have the car show.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, very good.
One other thing on Securitas, we do have a new supervisor. Danielle has moved back to an industry that she was originally from in Lake Brinks.
Where?
Armored car industry,
Oh,
Brinks.
yes.
So her replacement is Chris Lopez, who used to be our on-site supervisor several years ago.
Right.
He is now the regional manager. So he's familiar, he's assisting us with some projects, but it's been a smooth transition. That happened just a couple weeks ago.
Good afternoon, everyone.
For you, Scott, but
Okay.
that made me remember something that I need to ask
Okay.
the committee. The name of the person that was here from Palazzo?
Mike,
Mike Lanfear.
Mike Lampier
Mike Lanfear.
and Frank. I always want to call him something different than what.
Yeah.
That's okay. I only need Mike's because he
Okay.
spoke.
The next section is Amazon delivery. Now, what this is about, oh, I'm sorry, did I jump ahead?
Yeah.
Oh, it's golf cart discussion.
Yeah.
All right, I sent all of you out a color template. And you might find this a little humorous right now, but I've just been notified by the golf club that they're starting to have trouble with colors too. The reason is the new Easy Go white cars are so white that they make the fleet in the golf course look beige. So now they're having difficulties and they're wanting to know how we're approving them. And our guideline is white or beige. Reason I bring this to your attention is because of this new Easy Go color that is beige, which should be the first color for the Club Car Easy Go product line. That is closer to it's called beige metallic. And believe me, beige metallic looks like gold metallic to me.
this one,
Yes.
yeah.
And if you look at this cart that an owner wants us to register, that's the color. So we have right now 3 different shades of beige, and this is the 4th color of beige.
Looks
And
like
then
a
we have
monster
white.
here.
So
When you say we have 3 already existing that we're.
different tones, yes.
Yeah, that already.
Already there's 3 different variations of the color beige.
Okay.
So I just wanted to bring this to your attention that this is a beige color. So when you start seeing beige carts that look somewhat gold, they are beige. Yes.
This, again, well, I don't know, Scott, if you can answer this or if the committee members can, but why is it exactly that we have this requirement?
That is a good question.
They say.
If you ask me, I think the whole part of the discussion originally started when the community first opened and they did not want colorful carts or modified carts anywhere near the golf course. So the best way to control it was on the front end when you have private carts to limit the style, the make, the color, so you wouldn't run into that.
They didn't want to turn it into
Villages.
Villages. Now,
They didn't want Corvette golf carts.
here's the problem that we are now experiencing, and this just comes with time and changes. We now have 3 levels of golf carts. One is a golf cart, bona fide golf cart. That means it's only travels 15 miles an hour or below. Then you have an upgrade to that, more powerful batteries. Still considered a golf cart, your insurance is a little more. And that travels up to 25 miles an hour. And then what they're coming out with is low-speed vehicles. Low-speed vehicles are licensed vehicles that can drive down tree line. Low-speed vehicles cannot go on interstate highways, but they travel up to 45 miles an hour. And we have those
I was
in the
going to say, we
community.
have some in the community.
We have some in the community, and they have license plates on them. Those are low-speed vehicles. We don't have a control for those because they're a licensed vehicle. They paid more, they pay more for insurance, but they don't register with us. And again, that sometimes is a little uncomfortable for our owners to grasp or understand or feel like they're being restricted when they shouldn't be.
Are they allowed to be on the golf course?
No,
No. The golf course has their own golf cart
Yeah.
regulations.
Yeah.
Well, and that was the point of my question, and I hate to be the squeaky wheel, but it's my opinion that if you own your own golf cart and you don't play golf, who cares what color it is or what it looks like, or if it looks like a VW Bug or what, or a Corvette or whatever. If the golf course wants to limit the colors of the golf courses, I get that because it's a private thing that everybody pays to join, and you don't want Rodney Dangerfield out there in his beer cart, but I still don't think that it's well, and I believe it inhibits people from trying to register if they do have a golf cart that doesn't match these requirements. They just don't register. Yeah.
that's right.
So,
We know that goes on. The one thing that will probably pull legal into this is when you have golf carts that have lift kits on them.
I don't know what a lift kit is.
They look like 4-wheel drives. They're jacked up.
They
Oh.
got the big wheel.
Now, the problem will that be is, does that expose the association to liability if you register those because they have a higher level of gravity and they tend to tip over at high speeds?
They have a higher roll rate. I
Do
guess.
we have any of those in the community?
We don't register those. I've seen them.
Mhm.
One of them has to be one of them happens to be with that low speed vehicle. But we tell our owners, I mean, you can have custom wheels to a certain extent, but it can't be jacked up. It can't have flames on it. Nice, custom paint jobs. But again, that's the way it is now. Does not mean it can't change in the future, but there are several things that'll need to be discussed and hashed out if you modify it more than just allowing all beige carts to be registered.
I think it's an issue that should be totally revisited and rewritten. And I think somehow in there, we should have Tony double check legalities as far as what we're responsible for. And why do we need to register golf carts to begin with, other than it was just to make sure people conform to the old requirements?
Well, it makes
Insurance,
money.
it's insurance purposes
Insurance purposes.
right
But
now.
why do we have to make sure they have insurance? They have
They're,
to
they're
have
district
insurance.
roads. And
And-
we're a
and-
golf
and-
cart community. So that's, and again, we can pose that question to Tony, but
Sure.
that's dictated.
Resolution 2018-04
There you
Yes,
go.
thank you.
prescribes exactly things such as color, amount of insurance, everything about golf carts that are operated on the district roads. We had ourselves declared district, a golf cart community. And this resolution, this is an amended version of the resolution, but it's a resolution that set up exactly what the specifications were for golf carts operating on the roads of this golf cart community.
Okay, but I don't see the logic here. If I'm driving my car down Prado and I hit somebody, it's gonna be my fault, my liability, and not the district's liability.
And the
But
district
for
doesn't
some
know if you
reason,
have
if I hit somebody with my golf cart, people think that there may be some district liability. And I have a hard
What if-
time
what
believing
about a
that.
bicycle?
I mean, if Tony tells me I'm wrong, I'll fine, but
And-
I just don't, I think we worry too much about district liability where none exists.
And again, that would be up to Tony to explain that. Basically, what he has told me is it has been, a golf cart community
That's right.
on district roads with unlicensed vehicles. Those vehicles have to follow the guidelines of the district. Here are the guidelines.
We-
So again, it would be up to this committee to make recommendations or make a list of questions for Tony to consider and to see if there's any changes that could be made. The only reason I brought it up is because it's a hot topic for us at the office
Mhm.
registering carts. And I just wanted your okay to approve that dark beige color.
I think it's a
Well-
pretty big issue, and I think it's broader than just golf carts. We now have motorized bicycles.
Mhm,
And I rode one the other day and scared the hell out of me
mhm.
because I started pedaling and the motor took over. It's an assist, a motor assist bike.
Mhm.
And I was just pedaling along and all of a sudden the motor started and I wondered, how do I stop it? Well, it had handbrakes and if you stop pedaling, it stops. But we have motorized bikes. We have golf carts that are street worthy now. And I don't consider them a golf cart. They're really a street vehicle.
Well, if they're
Well, do
licensed-
they have to register these with go to like the driver's license
Sure.
agency to
Sure, yeah.
get their license?
And
Oh, yeah,
that's
they
a-
have to have
that's a-
seat belts.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah, you
okay.
can tell them they have seat belts on.
that's nothing
Yeah,
more
to
than
me,
having
that's
a,
not a golf cart.
no, that's like a roadster.
Mhm,
It's a glorified roadster, really.
mhm.
I'd like to ask, so I buy a home now in Pelican. I walk in and I say, Scott, what kind of golf cart can I get?
You can
Right
get,
now. So you show them these pictures?
I show them the picture that we have with our golf cart requirements,
Which is
And it's
beige or
white.
white,
white or beige,
right?
same with the seat, the roof.
Yep.
But again,
Now, wait, do they require, do you say it must have turn signals? Must have brake lights?
we're,
If
Keep-
it's on the
we'll let-
road,
let's back up. What our instructions are, I understand where you're going with this. What our instructions are is not a safety check. Our instructions are aesthetics. We are not there to inspect the carts, brakes, turn signals, windshield configurations. I understand what you're saying, John, I do.
if somebody comes and he's a brand new owner
Mhm.
and says, I golf, I want a golf cart.
If you golf, you want a golf cart, you have specific requirements. It has to be an easy go.
That's right.
That's fine, but a regular golf cart from the golf center cannot legally go on the road. It has no brake lights and no turn signals. It is not a road vehicle.
That's a rental cart. They're renting them.
Again,
So if somebody's gonna buy one, why don't you put part of that, if you're gonna drive it on the road?
it is in the document.
Yeah, it has to be street legal.
It
John,
is
It
in
has to
the,
be street legal.
it,
John, if you buy
John,
a
it
gun-
is on the specification sheet.
So is that
Colors,
something you
turn
give them?
signals, yes, they all
Okay.
have them.
If you buy a golf cart in Pelican Preserve and you want to golf with it, you're going to have to buy one that is street worthy.
I just did that.
Correct. That's
If
what-
you want to drive back and forth to your
So-
house.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's what I did. I went with the Easy Go because I want to use it on the golf course.
Scott, are there not, and I'm trying to recollect, are there not certain things you don't have to have if you're not going to operate it at night? No?
Now,
You have to have-
if you're gonna
you
have it on
to
the street, you're
you
still
have
gonna
to
have
you have to
lights,
have turn signals and lights.
turn signals, lights,
I thought
seat
at
belts,
one-
no.
At one time it was.
Yeah. But how could somebody tell us that they're never gonna use it at night when they get
Yeah,
trapped
well,
at,
I understand.
you know, so.
I think
Yeah.
the biggest issue we need to discuss, I think we need to look at this in more depth and probably have an attorney help us look at it. But I think the first thing we need to do for Scott is the color, because you can't get the colors that he's required to tell people. Therefore, what colors, I think, would we accept as exceptions right now based on what the manufacturers are producing? I think that's the biggest issue for us at the moment. And I would be inclined to say if the manufacturer calls it beige, I don't care what shade of beige it is. If it's beige, then that's acceptable by manufacturer design. You can't buy Sherwin-Williams paint now that matches our houses.
I agree that we should stay with the beige and white requirement because I do like the consistency within the community.
Yeah.
Because if you look at these are some beautiful carts like this one, this purple one. You know, you start giving that to the residents or the dark blue but right now I think we got to stay with what was you implemented, Phil, back when with the district.
And so you know, most golf cart dealerships are into custom colors now. So when you go in, you almost have to order a basic colored cart. Because if you go on, just Google it, you go online and look at these dealerships. I mean, the colors are across the spectrum.
But I
But
went
if you go in and tell them that you live in Pelican, they know what to show you.
exactly Gator
They do.
Golf, when I bought my
Yeah.
second cart,
Yep.
because I've been here long enough, my first one went out on me. He knew what the requirements were. and
Affordable golf is the same thing.
Yes, they know.
They both knew.
Scott, do you feel, do we need to step up and change the color requirement in any way, or can we just say that?
You know, I think we don't have to change the color requirement. I just wanted you to
Okay.
give
So-
support on making it possible that we can go across the various shades of these colors. Because again, the manufacturers are changing it.
So what would we say that you need to have golf carts that are equivalent to the old beige? Is that what we're saying?
Equivalent to beige or white or cream. Because-
I don't think we could say the old because now they don't make that.
Yeah.
I think we need to just say if the.
If the manufacturer calls it beige,
If the
it's
manufacturer
okay.
calls it beige, whatever shade of beige it is, we have to accept it because otherwise people have to get custom painted carts and that's not what we want.
So do you feel a need for us to get the instruction changed?
I think that might be beneficial going down the road, is just to be a little bit more broad in the wording.
Yeah, I think we need to protect our management company in this regard and give them some verbiage that stipulates easy go or club car and it has to be beige or white. And whatever they classify as beige or white qualifies for us. Even if the beige looks somewhat gold, it'll give us a little bit more diversity in our colors. But, you know, if it's a manufacturer based color, I don't think we really have much option. I think,
And there's other manufacturers now coming into the market.
yeah.
Is there?
As the baby boomers hit retirement, the full group of us, they're moving into golf communities and golf carts come along with it.
Mhm.
Are there other manufacturers that we should, maybe not at this junction, but in the near future, start considering as acceptable?
What, oh, I'm sorry.
They're,
Was that a
they're
question?
already on property.
Well,
They're already,
and they aren't getting registered, I assume.
oh, no, they
Correct.
are,
Oh,
because they meet the aesthetical requirements.
oh, okay, so other manufacturers are acceptable.
Yes.
I don't have,
Yes.
I don't
Oh,
have
yeah,
a
the
problem.
only requirement is Easy Go or Club Car or a manufacturer that's close.
Okay, I don't have a problem with that. I don't think we need to be real stringent. I think we just need to accept the manufacturer of beige or white, and if management approves it's an okay design, I'm easy with that.
I totally agree with Joe, but I also agree with Joe that we need to revisit this whole page.
Yeah.
Because here, I'm gonna sound like a scofflaw again, but here's the deal. We have black seats in our golf cart.
And you're in trouble.
Last year, they wouldn't give Greg, well, not last year, the year before COVID, they wouldn't give Greg a sticker because we didn't have beige seats. So he went to the golf course and took pictures of all of the golf carts sitting there that didn't have beige seats and brought it back to Castle and they gave him a sticker. But I've seen it does say in there that you have to have beige seats too. And so
And-
since that time, we've been grandfathered in, but there are a lot of other people out there that don't have beige seats.
I mean,
And,
some of
and
that
we
has
also
slip
we also see what they do too. They'll come to get it registered and they have their beige seat color covers on. And when
Well,
they drive down the street, they take their covers off and look,
mhm.
they're two-tone.
Yeah, I have a neighbor that actually left them on, but she had seats the color of his favorite color, and he passed away, and she was crushed when she had to put seat covers on.
Mhm.
Teresa, could we ask you to take this on?
You bet. I'd love to.
You know, I think you want to start with the resolution that prescribes with
Okay.
the kinds of.
And it was this committee's resolution or was
Well,
it the
it-
CDD
It was a
resolution?
CDD, it is
Okay.
a CDD resolution, I
Mhm.
believe it's 2018-04.
Okay.
That's
Well, but
scary
does
that
that
you
mean
Well,
that we
I will-
can't
I will
change
tell you.
ours without going to the CDD?
Well, I will tell you that I beat my head against the
I
wall.
remember that.
Trying to
Yeah.
change where you could drive the carts.
Yeah, I might just
And
make a comment that Phil, I knew he had it memorized because I made a mistake in a comment I sent out. And I quickly got a response from Phil that said, Joe, blah, blah, number per prop, you're wrong. I said, okay, I am.
I think
How do I find that resolution? How do I find that
I
resolution?
can send you a copy.
I would love for you to. Thank you.
And that'll be the greatest challenge that you have.
Absolutely.
Is working through.
What else do I have to
the
do? I'm
district.
retired.
Yeah, it's
You may interrupt your golf.
Yeah. Okay, Scott, let's move on to the next item.
Last item I have has to do with Amazon and Amazon deliveries. This will be something that the district manager will have to sign off on. It costs nothing to the community. What it is it's like the Yelp system for emergency vehicles. Whereas there's a transponder within a Amazon truck. And they approach the gate and the gate has a receiver that will automatically open the gate up for the driver. But the Amazon driver can only come into the community if they have a package to deliver and it's programmed into their system. It will also track Amazon vehicles, so if there's ever a problem with speeding or there's an accident or damage, they have a new GPS system that will assist the association to track down that driver, number one, and to execute the repairs. That was what I provided all of you. It's the Amazon open for delivery system. And all it is, and I can tell you, Gateway Greens, Pelican Landings, there's a few others in Gateway that use it right now.
So we would have to, they would install a transponder?
Right at the gate
At
tower.
the gate tower?
In other words, they do not have to check in every time they come in.
Correct. They would just gain
It
access.
makes sense because they come in a lot now.
Whoa.
Is there any, let me ask you this, I haven't thought it through, is there any downside for us?
No. If there's ever an issue, we just disconnect it.
Have you been approached by UPS or any others?
No. Amazon's the only one doing this right now.
Okay.
Because Amazon sees a tremendous growth in their business. And with Amazon Prime, I don't see many FedEx, UPS trucks in Pelican Preserve. I see Amazon everywhere. So,
Is it, you just need, well, or is, now you say the district manager has to approve it?
yes, because it would be for the entry through the gatehouse.
Yeah.
So it's just an agreement to install the equipment. So Chris would have to look at it, kick it over to Tony, and then execute it.
So I guess we need a motion to approve.
To move ahead.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd make a motion that we move ahead with Amazon's proposition, and I guess it won't cost
I'll
us any
second
money.
that.
There's no cost to us.
Any, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
My wife will be happy because her packages will get there soon.
So will I.
There you go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ron and Doug, you both in
Yes,
favor?
aye.
Yes, aye.
Fine, passes.
Phil, as a
7
note,
to
is
naught.
this a technology that perhaps the gates could use on our emergency road?
Well, they're gonna have,
For
they're going to have,
service vehicles?
they're going to have transponders.
Yes. Everything is going to be worked through once we get through all the legalities of getting it planned and started. So the gates, basically the design and the first run through of looking at how the gates will be built has already been discussed. Far as the fire department, they would say, just give us a knock box and we'd be happy. They don't have to be automated. But that won't work. Knock boxes are only for fire department. So we would have to put in a Yelp system. Yelp system is one of 2 or 3 electronic transmitter systems that unmanned gates respond to as they pull in.
And that's only if that fire department decides they want to take care of one section of our community, which is still up in the air as far as I understand.
Well, again, this is twofold. Keep in mind that,
Utilities.
Yeah, I was thinking of gateway services.
Yeah.
Trucks, because that's what I see the main purpose of that road's going to be, is those guys coming in and out.
I agree.
well, and I agree too, because the only fire department or EMTs that service our community right now are right across the street on Tree Line.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think that's
And
going to
that's
change.
probably won't change.
Yeah, I
The-
doubt
the
that it'll
big thing
change.
is that and having an emergency exit.
Yeah, I think
It's the utility
gateway
and having
services and I think that's the point of the whole thing.
The utilities and the emergency exit if needed.
Okay. All right.
Any other
Scott?
questions for me?
I have a big question for you. I
Okay.
have a nice security report.
Yes.
What do you do with a security report when you get it and it affects an individual, and this one happens to be mine? Is there a reason you do not contact that individual?
That was my error. Sorry.
That was a pretty big error.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
You should have been contacted.
by
and-
who?
Well,
By the
either
front gate? by
Yeah.
security at the time?
Okay, if I could explain the situation first of all. One thing I had to work out with the front gate is the front gate should never accept the information that an owner wants to park their vehicle in a parking lot overnight. Okay? When that request is made, we normally direct them to the town center. Then what happens then is the town center would send an email to all of us that they have granted overnight parking to this vehicle.
That had nothing to do with the town center. This is the golf course.
Well, and there again, the golf course would have to handle that.
And the golf course gave permission
Yes,
and the front gate gave permission prior to parking there,
okay,
because it was just supposed to be on a very temporary basis. Now you get a report from the guard
mhm,
of a trunk open, and this is at 11 o'clock at night,
mhm.
and you don't contact the owner? When
Well,
you
here's the
have-
thing.
You
Wait a
know
minute,
exactly
hold
who
on up.
that owner is.
No, we don't. No, we don't. Who are you saying knows exactly who that owner is? Who's,
It's registered at the front gate,
yes,
and you have a registration of it.
yes. But for us to track down a vehicle, it has to be done at the office.
That's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Even 2 days later. And you don't contact the owner?
But the email chain had already gone through
To who?
the gamut. What?
I would have never seen this.
Yeah.
Or known that the trunk was open, sitting at the golf course at 11 o'clock at night. If the Ponte didn't tell me 2 days later, because that's when you sent it to him.
And we didn't know whose car it was. Yes.
And you're gonna let the trunk be open and
No.
not tell the person?
What the guard was supposed to do and what he has done in the past,
Do you know if anything was
Yes.
taken out of that trunk?
I don't.
Do you care?
Yes. But again, we got a couple things going that we're going to have to work through here. We don't deal with the golf club parking area.
The guard does. He
He
patrols it.
He patrols it and he sends out a communication.
I'm not upset at the guard.
Yeah.
The guard sent it to you,
Yes,
and you get a picture of a trunk open at 11 o'clock at night. And at this point, the owner is still not contacted.
correct.
You just forwarded this to the safety committee.
I did. When
The
I got
safety
it,
committee
when I
has
got it.
no idea whose car that is and would have be unable to determine it. Fortunately,
Yeah.
Ron knows my car and
Yeah.
called me that evening.
Scott, is it?
But see, he notified you that evening. Was the trunk still open when you
Two
got
days
there?
later.
It was still open. the
No,
trunk.
that's what I want to know. Who opened the trunk?
And I don't know who opened it or who closed it.
It had to be security.
Yeah.
Was it?
I don't know. Don't have that answer.
Was anything taken from the trunk? Do you know that?
Don't know
Well,
that
wait,
either.
Do you care?
John, wait a minute.
John,
Yeah, wait.
relax.
All
Wait a minute.
all we
Let's
do,
try-
we're not a security force. We observe things. And you know, I don't get reports in the middle of the night. I may not get them until 2 or 3 days
You
later.
got it 2 days later and
Yeah.
you still didn't contact the owner.
Okay, well, let's, John, rather than.
How
making it
would you like to see
confrontational-
this occur in the future?
I think you should contact an owner to say, hey, there's an issue here.
I think that's appropriate.
And
Scott?
if I have the license plate and the transponder, I can do that, and I'll do that in the future. But we don't, you know,
I think they should contact
Absolutely
in the
contact the
future.
owner.
But wait, can I ask, 11 o'clock at night?
No, he got it was 2 days later.
But would you expect to be contacted?
I don't care when I'm contacted, if the trunk is wide open.
I know, but have you determined the style of car? How did that trunk get open?
That's what I'd like to know.
And I
Let's
don't have the
assume-
answer.
Let's assume it was my response, I goofed, that the trunk was open. And if security closed it, I'm fine with that. But at least contact determine if anything was stolen.
Well, if somebody registered they were leaving their car there and somebody, then I'm assuming, you're assuming that the guard shack had that information. Then
They knew
would-
it was
then
I mean,
would
they
have
had to.
known
I went up there
But if
with
somebody
my
just-
car and said, this is gonna
But
be
if
fine.
I think we can
Yeah.
say that.
Again, here again, I'm just telling you what our normal
I'm not
practice
upset at the
is.
guards.
I'm
I'm
just,
upset the fact that you get the report.
Right.
Do nothing with it other than send it to safety.
Well, I think.
in the past, what has been the process is even when there's a door open, it's like the guard will contact the homeowner if the garage door is open. At night, the guard will contact the homeowner if a car door is left open at night. The problem is that we didn't have is what's going on in a parking lot. That's where we have to improve.
Can we safely say that it's the consensus of the committee that to the degree that you have this information, it ought to be transmitted to the owner as soon as possible?
Okay, I can do
I
that.
have a question. Does Lenore pay for the guard to drive through the golf cart parking lot?
No.
Because that's not our responsibility.
It is not,
So why does the guard even go up there?
as part of their protocol to drive, just to drive through. It's just like the construction gate. That's not actually ours either.
Well, that's kind of
But it
safety,
affects the-
that's a safety feature
Well,
for
and
the
this is-
community, but
This
why
is,
are we spending money to pay for a guard to drive through the golf course?
Doesn't take that
It's
much
Lenore.
time.
it's,
It's a still a cost.
well,
Yeah.
it is beneficial. I would submit it's beneficial for the security.
I think it's beneficial to 400 people maybe.
Well,
I don't think we
but
should
they
have
are part of-
any issue with having a guard that we're paying for check the golf cart or the golf course.
well,
We even have.
I don't-
do we have legal issues for him going on the property?
Hey, if it can be improved, it'll be improved.
We'll
Right.
improve it.
And unfortunate incident, hopefully nothing was stolen.
what do people feel about, I have no problem with the guard. You know, it's a relatively small.
I think he should continue to do that. There are other issues that can happen at the golf course anytime.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, they don't address, now I do know the guards don't address anything on the golf course. If there's a problem with the golf course, they contact their emergency number at the gatehouse and let management there handle it.
Okay.
And I know at the town center, they do the same thing. If there's a problem there, they notify the management at the town center.
Because Joe, if you make that argument, they shouldn't go into the town center either.
Really?
That's right.
I thought that was part of the community, but it's not.
No, in order to park at
Privately owned, it's part of the
In
association.
order to park at the town center, you do have to get a permit, and they give you specific instructions as to where to park.
Mhm.
But that was a Lennar request. As far as I know, with the town center being owned by PPCA, that is not a requirement.
And I can't answer that.
No,
Wow.
it is not a requirement, but I don't mind Terry
Yeah.
continuing with that process, because I
Okay.
think it's a good idea,
Okay.
but it is not a requirement of PPCA.
I don't know where we want to go with this, but that makes me think of something else. I don't know if we're going to be talking about parking in the community, and is that on
Yes,
our agenda?
parking
Okay.
will come up.
I'll wait.
Okay,
You okay, John?
anything further?
I'm fine.
John,
I got upset at Scott because he
John.
didn't call me.
John,
Hey, at 12 o'clock at night, I'm
John.
running around, where's my car?
John, my apologies to you and your family.
They took your car?
No,
No, I didn't know if anything was taken.
Oh, I see.
I mean, I
Okay.
get this 2.5
All right, I'd like to,
days late.
Yeah.
I'd like to move beyond this.
I can understand.
Ponds Work Group, Doug. Oh, Scott, are you finished? Do you have any other?
nope.
Anything else?
I thought we were going to talk about parking, but no.
Yeah, we are going to talk about parking when we get to Ron's.
I will try to just cover the points on my report because of timing that I think is the most important. We've had 3 compressor fires where those aluminum boxes have caught on fire on pond 17, 35, and 36 over the last 13 months. The last one was the end of last year. The second one was thought to be a lightning strike. After further investigation, it was not. These things burned to the ground. On pond 36, the last one, the fire department was called to put it out. They cost about $20K a pond to replace. And that's why all the compressors, aerator compressors, were turned off on the newer 16 ponds. We've got a 3 different groups investigating the problem. The Solitude is the prime, and he's working with the manufacturer and his electrician. They've come back. I'm waiting on a written resolution plan and compensation on that. We also have our maintenance individual is listed second, and Jeff Key, and his electrician is investigating, and I'm trying to get multiple sources and cross-foot that we actually know what the root cause is. And then right now, the third thing is Tetra Tech's looking at doing a formal review of the wiring and the compressors. That's where that's at right now. The silver box compressors on those 16 ponds are still off. We've not replaced the compressors on pond 36. Right now, it looks as though there's some overheating in the compressor, and the GFCI breakers were not installed 3 years ago when it went in. But I'm waiting for that to be finalized with a resolution plan and compensation back to the ponds group to compensate us for the additional costs we incurred. Any question on that?
Glenn here, Doug. How about
Yes.
for insurance purposes? Is that covered?
I do not know that. Like I said, I'll ask Bob. The last one occurred as I was taken over, but the 2 before that it was not covered by insurance. I know that. Whether or not that was I don't know. I don't think we have insurance on that. Well, my biggest concern, Glenn, was if some of these boxes catch on fire, the fire could spread. It could burn a home down, right?
Well, and you said 20,000 a box.
Well, there's 3 boxes, but it was 20,000 a pond to replace them. That's what that's when we put them in. That's what the cost was to put in the compressors and the aerators.
Okay, well, I'm confused then. What do you estimate to fix them per pond then, each box?
Well, the compensation resolution plan is to put GFCI breakers in there. I think it'll cost the ponds group. They've already committed the Solitude to Prime to do all the labor and the GFCI breakers at cost. You're probably looking around $2,000 to $3,000 for the breakers. That's the expense that we would incur if we even agreed to do that. But the other thing is the 20,000 for the one that's burnt needs to be replaced. And I'm
working on with Solitude for some type of compensation between them and the compressor manufacturer. And Tony's also at least copied on these notes just so he knows about the situation.
And when did we put those in? Like a year or two now, or
3.
3? So probably outside warranty.
No, they're all outside warranty.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
The other thing is, the next item is trying to reduce cost. We have a $110,000 a year maintenance contract with Woodland and Wetlands. We've had it for the last 2 years to do the maintenance on the all of our conservation areas. I looked at that expense, and that's what we're paying for all the maintenance on all of our ponds total, if you added it all together. I asked Chris to do a competitive bid. We did not have a competitive bid done 2 years ago. I want that to be a competitive bid because I have no idea. It just seemed high to me. So I just want you to know that. The trouble ticket system, like Ameriscape, that will be completed, should be completed at the end of next month with no additional expense. We're just taking GIS money and reallocating it to a trouble ticket system. Okay, drainage, we got another 3 months of Madeira. That will probably then be put on hold until October, November, when we get new budget to start in the Prado and Pistoia. That's where I am there. And the last thing on the list was just, we get about 5 issues per week. Most of it's people wanting to know how we can raise the pond level because it looks bad, or the brown killing of the littorals. This time of year you always get a lot of individuals complaining about those type of things because of what water level is low this time of the year. Okay.
Summer.
Yeah. They think yes.
How do these complaints or issues get to you guys?
Most of them come through Chris Santos. He sends me a note, and then I go back to I call back to each of the individuals that put the complaint in and talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're satisfied. I go out. One of them complained about the sun hit the aluminum box and it was blinding them when they were on the lanai and eating breakfast. And I went out to Walmart and bought a $5 can of Rust-Oleum spray green and gave it to them, and they painted it the silver to green to match the grass, and that complaint was resolved. So, I mean, you tried to use some common sense to resolve them.
I would have bought him sunglasses.
Okay. Doug, anything more?
What?
Do you have anything else to report?
No, except I am still working on pond 34. So if anyone is there from Viadana, they are not happy with that pond. And I'm working with the contractor, our lead from Met Tower. We're trying to just satisfy that pond. It does have a lot of dead vegetation around the edges.
Any questions?
That's it.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Nope.
Any questions of Dave? Okay, let's move on to Ron.
Okay. I don't know if you all have the copy of the email that I sent that summarizes everything that's been going on.
We all have it.
Okay, good. I won't read it, needless to say, but I'll just go through a couple of the items quickly. All the construction projects, those 4 construction projects are now completed. Scott's working with Tetra Tech to close out the permit. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about rumble strips. The permanent installation, as discussed last month, has been accomplished. We've coordinated closely with the Vicenza Homeowners Association before we did that. and they were very supportive of making that a permanent installation. The one significant issue, actually there's a couple issues, but the one really significant safety issue is that what we've been finding is lots of drivers, both of vehicles and golf carts, are going around the rumble strips. I don't mind golf carts going off to the right a little bit, but the vehicles are driving into the opposite lane to avoid going over the rumble strips, which is obviously a very, very serious safety issue. We've talked to the police, Fort Myers Police Department about this. They have been issuing warnings. They have observed vehicles doing this. They have issued warnings. To my knowledge, they haven't issued actual tickets. We've asked them to do that, but I haven't heard of any ticketing actually taking place. One possible solution to this is an obvious one, is putting rumble strips on the other side of the road. Obviously, that costs money and et cetera. I did talk to Tetra Tech about the permit to see if we would have been allowed to do that without going back and either modifying the existing permit or having to get a new one. And they informed me that it would not be an issue if we wanted to go ahead and execute that. So that would not be a problem. We're not sure if we want to do that or not, quite frankly. As a temporary measure, I asked Scott if he could put in some traffic cones along the center line. He said he could do that, but he wanted to notify the community first before doing that. So it might be a few days before you can see some cones there. I mean, that should prevent vehicles from going on to the opposite lane to go around the rumble strips. We're going to be continuing to monitor that situation, as well as the actual speeding of vehicles. I mean, the whole purpose of this was to hopefully slow down vehicles. So we're going to be monitoring that for about a month or so, just to see if over time vehicles do indeed slow down because of the rumble strips. Obviously, if they don't slow down, they aren't serving the purpose that we want them to serve. So we'll see how that works out. Just to know, I am going to be putting in some money into next year's budget for the potential installation of rumble strips on our main roadways, Pelican Reserve Boulevard, as well as Cypress Grove. We would then have a significant discussion as to where on those roads we would install rumble strips if we decide to go ahead and do that. Parking. Hopefully you guys have seen the hot topic that we put out a week or so ago on parking. We're going to continue to monitor that. A lot of people have been talking about establishing formal no parking zones. Could do that. It gets to be a complicated issue because, well, at the very least, it's going to be expensive because you got to put up no parking signs. And where would you put the no parking signs? What roads would you put them on? How, if you're talking about Prado as an example, do you apply it to all of Prado or just certain sections of Prado? Just as an example. So it gets to be rather complicated if we wanted to do that. We would also obviously have to go to the CDD to get their approval, and we would have to eventually put those roadways that are no parking zones on their towing contract. If you really wanted to enforce that, you got two ways of doing that. The police could give out parking tickets at that point. They could call the towing company. It's not clear to me whether anyone else would be authorized to do that. So, it gets to be an issue with that. We received one suggestion to create alternate side of the street parking. And if you think about enforcement issues with just a straight no parking zone, could you imagine trying to enforce something about alternate side of the street parking? And we've got a lot of old folks living in our communities, and it would be tough for them to remember that, oh, this is Thursday and I can park on my side of the street or the other side of the street. So I don't know about that particular suggestion. We're looking at signage. We're
Before you get off parking,
Sure, go ahead.
my recollection is that we discussed, however, it's not in the minutes, at the last meeting, I thought we discussed the issue of saying no parking between 11 and 6. And that we would then use the friendly reminders. Did we not discuss that?
No.
No.
That's a
I
false.
don't know that we discussed it at last month's meeting, but the SSWG did discuss that. And in fact, that is what was put out in that friendly hot topic. That indeed, vehicles should not be parking on our streets between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. and that the roving patrol will put out friendly reminders on vehicles who violate that. And by the way, if for various reasons you do need to park on those roads, on our roads, you can let them know ahead of time so you don't get a friendly reminder. So,
Yeah, my memory was a false memory. It was from an SSWG meeting, obviously. That was
It's
the
hard to
reason it
keep them
wasn't in the
straight, Phil. I appreciate that.
wasn't in the minutes. Does the SSWG want to propose that, Ron?
propose what?
The 11 to 6
Well, 10 to 6.
or 10 to 6?
Do we have to make a proposal? The answer is yes. If we need to make a proposal, I don't know that we need to do that. You guys tell me. We can do
Ron,
that. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. What's the difference between 10 o'clock when I'm in the middle of having a card game at my house and 12 o'clock when people are finally deciding to leave about 11 or 11:30?
Joe, pick a time.
I'd pick 12 o'clock midnight.
Okay. How does everybody else feel about that?
I think, as things open up, you're gonna have people visiting, you'll have parties. I think 12 o'clock is a good number.
Okay.
12 to 6. And is it the consensus of the committee that we should do that? And also include in that we will put these reminders on people's cars when they're parked there? I mean, we don't have any enforcement capability or authority.
I think it's fine to put something under the windshield so that they know what the rules are. I don't have a problem with that. I think what I was going to talk about earlier was I didn't realize that we could get permission to park cars in some of the parking lots. But if we have weak visitors, if my family comes in and I can park 2 cars in my driveway. That's it. And if I can get permission to have a car parked up at the town center parking lot for a night or 2 or 3, if that's something that's possible, that would work out great.
It's not a problem.
So
Terry,
I never knew that.
Terry always can give the permission, and it's a designated spot at the town center.
Yeah, I wasn't
But
aware of that.
Yes, and the golf course, as long as you alert the golf course, you can park your car there overnight, and other people do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I had mine there it's gone now, though. It will not be there.
Good. Sold that damn.
No,
I was eyeing that.
as long as you get permission,
Okay,
that can be done.
Ron, if we make the requirements clear to everybody and maybe enforce it a couple times in succession, like every other week or something, I think people will get the message. You can park your car at other places if you need to, or you can have parties, and as long as they're going by midnight. I don't think any of us are partying until 2 o'clock in the morning anymore.
I always thought, Phil, that was common knowledge anyways.
I did too. I actually did.
What?
No parking on the street at night.
Well, I think we need to reinforce it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't.
I saw that in some type of
Yeah.
Either when we.
Okay,
made it-
well, okay,
Yeah,
well,
we can do a resolution then to do
well,
it.
I don't know that we need a resolution, because
Yeah.
I think it may be in the document.
I think
Okay.
it is.
I think it is in the documents. It's just a matter of the SSWG having these friendly reminders go out.
Okay.
I'm assuming that the committee would not
No problem.
object to
I
that.
support that.
No problem.
Ron, I guess.
Let me ask Scott if he could make sure that the security folks know that it's midnight to 6, because we did tell them 10 to 6.
Yeah, I think midnight's a better time.
Midnight to 6 it is.
Okay.
Okay, great, thanks. Okay?
That Prado issue, I heard about it because
Yeah.
I know, Ron, that there was an unusual amount of traffic in there that day. I think the new post orders, they were putting these, they called them tickets, but we know they weren't tickets. And it just sort of blew up more than it should have. And we don't have to, I believe, as a committee, say this is common occurrence. If people know now about the new midnight to 6, and during the week, use common sense that they were painting down there. There was a lot of construction vehicles, so
I live on Prado.
yeah, so
I
you
mean,
saw it.
I had to drive on the wrong side of the road to get here today because there were construction vehicles parked all over.
Exactly.
It's
So
just, it's no big deal.
No,
Yeah.
Ask
And-
somebody.
Yeah, and it happens in all of the communities here periodically. I had a situation in front of my house just 2 days ago where we had the hot wire folks had 3 vehicles because they were doing installs on one side of the road, and the other side of the road there was two vehicles parked for folks doing pool servicing. And it was tough to get one vehicle to be able to go down the middle of the road. And I noticed there was an Amazon truck that was having somewhat difficulty getting through our community. So it happens all the time in all areas. It's just a matter of being some common sense. If you're going to have a delivery, whatever it might be, that's going to take several hours potentially, is to make sure that, those trucks aren't blocking the road. Common
Steve-
sense, and the friendly reminders, I think will help that, to put it back in people's minds, to even to be thinking about it. I think I'd be all right.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, signage. One of the other things that we're doing, we're looking at the entire community to see if there are areas where we need additional signage. Now, we're not going to propose putting up 50 signs throughout the community, reminding people of speed limits, et cetera, et cetera. But there's probably a few areas that could use 1 or 2 extra signs. So we're going to continue that. If we think that's a good idea, we probably will. We'll probably put some money in the budget for next year to put up a few extra signs. One thing I did want to bring up on Aviano, some of the folks there, there's 2 islands down Aviano, one in the middle of the road, if you will, and one at the very end. It's being proposed by some that for the island, actually for both islands, to make those one-way streets. We did a little preliminary look at that. We checked with the city, and those streets are approved for 2-way driving. I think it might be really difficult to get the owners to say they don't mind having it made one way. I don't know, we haven't gone so far as to figure out the process for changing 2-way streets to 1-way streets. I suspect it won't be easy, but if we think we want to do that, we'll investigate that further. But I tell you, if my driveway was near one of those islands, I would be a little concerned about making it a 1-way street, so that every time I either was coming to my house or leaving my house, I might have to make a U-turn somewhere in order to get into or out of my driveway. So I don't know that
Ron,
that.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Why do they want to, those that want to change it, why do they want to change it?
Well, I think what it is somewhat is a perception. If you look at that, you could in theory have 2 lanes of vehicles going in each direction. It creates some confusion, I guess, in some of the residents' part as to which side of the road they should be on, because there are no signages there. They don't, they might be concerned about whether or not it's 2-way traffic or not 2-way traffic. There is a stop sign at the end of one of those islands, so that it should not be an issue if you come to the end of the island, whether you've got the right of way versus a vehicle on the other side of the road. So I don't know. Like I said, I wouldn't go any further with this thing unless I got feedback from both HOAs involved that the people whose driveways are affected think this is a good idea. On the surface, I would not support it, but again, I don't drive that road very much. maybe there is an issue there that the homeowners really think needs to be fixed. But I haven't heard it from a lot of people, just a few.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. We're doing the same thing with crosswalks. We have in the past received some email traffic from people, I guess, in Prado and Pistoia, looking at that traffic circle. Walks put in, we looked at that particular one. Not sure whether we think it's really going to be worth the money to spend to do something like that, but we haven't discounted it yet. There's also the traffic circle where Prado and Cypress Grove come together. And we've seen one or two emails from people who want more crosswalks created there. That one becomes a little bit more expensive because in order to put a new crosswalk there, you got to go through the median in the middle of Cypress Grove. And that would end up costing probably a significant amount of money to do that. So we don't know. We're going to look at that a little bit further. We might ask some of the HOAs down there their opinion about that over time, but it's not something we think is an emergency kind of situation. But we're gonna continue looking at that, see if it makes sense to do that.
Reminder that people look both ways before they cross the street.
Yeah.
There's a lot of walkers that go through there, and they've expressed concern that there's no crosswalk in some of those. And also, there's no speed sign on Prado when you come out of the circle. People don't know what the speed limit is. And there's
Well, I mean, like I said, that there's a situation where maybe next year we end up putting in a speed sign.
Well,
the
Ron, my
perfect
feeling
spot
is if you put those signs up at that intersection on Cypress Grove Boulevard at that crosswalking, if that's the biggest concern, then there sure as heck should be something down there at that circle to protect the people that are walking between Prado and Carina on that road. And the ones in Carina are the ones that are complaining about it. Plus, they have some nice comments about those little signs in the middle of the road there too.
Well, I don't know. Some people love them, some people hate them, and some people keep knocking them over.
Yeah, but if they're important enough to have them there, then it's important enough to have some sort of safe crosswalk at that circle to go across that road.
Okay, so
Is
if I-
my point.
It's not like there aren't crosswalks there already. It just happens to be one of the four corners doesn't have a crosswalk.
Well, there's no
It's not
crosswalk
like-
at all in one direction. There is no crosswalk.
Okay, we're probably talking about a different place then. I apologize. We're probably talking about a different location. Which
Okay, maybe-
location are you talking about again?
I'm talking about the circle there at Carina, Prado, and Casilla. There's no crosswalk there at all.
Carina, Prado, and Cypress Grove?
On Cypress Grove Boulevard that connects Carina, Casilla, and Prado.
There are three crosswalks there. And the fourth corner doesn't have one, and that's the one that would have to be cut across the median in order to put it in. So three of the corners have crosswalks, one does not. So, I'm not saying it wouldn't be nice to have one there, quite frankly. I don't know that it's something we're going to take a look at it and see what it would cost to do something like that.
I think your fellow looked at it.
we'll see.
Agree. There's a crosswalk that goes east-west. There's none that goes north-south. You cannot cross north-south with a crosswalk.
Okay,
All right, I'm gonna have to go back there and look at it again, Joe, because I drove it and I thought I saw three crosswalks there. I could be mistaken, that there might only be two, because one of the two circles has only two. Absolutely correct. And then maybe I'm confused as to which one that is. But I'm taking a look at it.
Suffice it to say that they're going to be looking at that one.
Oh, yeah. And we'll probably put some money in next year's budget, to put in one or two new crosswalks. And, oh yeah, golf cart safety. Did you guys, hopefully you saw the video that Clip put out. I don't know if that went to the entire community or just the golf club members. I'm not sure about that. Anybody there who's not a club member, did you see a video that came out about golf cart safety put out by the club?
Joe, you're not a golf cart.
No,
club
I'm not.
member. Did you see?
something about safety for golf carts?
Yeah.
If it came
It was
from
a
the,
video.
I did not see it and neither did my wife.
Okay, well then we'll have to fix that because it's a nice little video. It explains the golf cart driver. Now it's primarily for the golf club drivers. When they come to these little stop signs, when they're like crossing Trieste, etc., they're supposed to stop. Okay, so it re-emphasizes those kinds of things. Maybe it's something that the entire community should have access to as well. It's a nice little video. Robin Kessler, some of you may know her. She was kind of instrumental. She had contacted me a couple of months ago about if we can come up with some additional ideas to promote golf cart safety, especially with golf club drivers. So she got together with Jennifer Nessenoff, who's a member of the SSWG. They worked with the club, and they came up with this little video. The video did go out before we had a chance to review it ahead of time, but it looks like it's a pretty decent little video. So I'll see. I'll check with Ian to see if he has any issue with releasing that to the entire community. If he doesn't, I'll get together with maybe you, Scott. Right? You can send that out to the community if we can do that. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll check with Ian for make sure he doesn't have an issue with that. If he doesn't, I'll send it to Scott and he can send it out to the entire community. It's a nice little video. And that's the end of my report. Any overall questions you guys got?
Glenn, like
Yeah.
the Oprah interview, I won't watch that video. Thank you.
Okay.
Ron, I think one of the issues was that it is a long video, but it is very worthwhile to watch.
Yeah, I didn't think it was all that long, but yeah, okay. It was what, 7 or 8 minutes maybe?
You know, at a later date than when it came out, but it is a worthwhile video.
Yeah, good.
I'll look for it. Okay. Any other questions of Ron? Gonna move it along here. CDD meeting schedule, we need somebody for the 25th. The 18th was canceled or postponed. Is there anyone who can cover the 25th of March?
This is Doug. I'm open on that day.
Okay, that'll be Doug. Now we have two. Does somebody have I forgot to bring my calendar with me. What are the two dates in April?
I think it would be April the 8th.
April 8th and assumedly 22nd.
I think I could do I can do the 22nd.
Joe can do the 22nd. Can anybody do April?
Why don't you guys look at those dates again? The 1st of April is a Thursday.
Oh, the 1st of it,
They
okay.
meet the 1st, don't they? Oh,
The 1st
yeah.
and 3rd. Okay, so
That
it'll be
would be
the
the
1st and the
1st.
15th.
All right, I'll take April, being I cannot do the 25th,
You'll take April 1.
April 1.
John will take
April
April
fourth.
1. Joe, you
I
can
can
take
do the
April
15th,
15th.
yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, any committee number requests or audience comments?
Oh, I got one.
Yep, Scott.
I need to go back to parking again and security, just because of the requests we received from the Prado Neighborhood Association. We handle private areas of this community, as you have heard today about the club parking and the town center parking. We handle things differently in all of these areas. Sienna, Palazzo, Ravenna. Ravenna, we don't even drive through. Sienna will drive down the street. If anything doesn't look right, they report it to the management company and the president of the association. Palazzo, the same thing. Those are privately owned roads, and their common grounds are owned by the individual neighborhood associations. So they contact the management company or the president, whatever the instructions are. We've had a request from the Prado president for our security guards to patrol their mail kiosk and put friendly reminders out on the cars that are parked overnight. It's up to you on how you want to handle it. Again, we do things differently for every neighborhood. They don't think it's right that the CDD, PPAC doesn't allow the guards to go onto their property to write up friendly reminders. And of course, you know, between the golf club and the town center, we do things differently too. You know, it's basically what they do is they don't take action, they view, and they make a contact to management. That's what they do. So the Palazzo board president would like to see more offered.
You mean
Prado, I'm sorry, yes, Prado.
I think in their normal patrols, if they see a car parked in that mail kiosk, if it's there, I mean, they don't know if somebody's in there or not, but if they make 2 trips by and they see the same car there overnight, then they should put a notice on it. I don't think they should be making special trips out there just to patrol it. It should be just part of their routine. And there has to be a way to make sure that the first time a car is parked there, that you don't put a friendly reminder on it. I don't know.
Well, and again, that's part of the problem. You know, it's just like us patrolling the country club.
Yeah.
Or patrolling the town center.
I don't think
You know,
taxpayer money should be used for that. I think that should be part of the fees of the town center. We took a big bill from them. If that's an expense, they should be paying for it. And I think the club should do the same thing. But I think, how do you patrol a parking lot for a mail kiosk?
You have to drive, you got to stop and check it. And if
you enforce
all you're doing
we
is.
don't have any enforcement power.
That's right. Now Ravenna does. They have a tow policy. But again, that is self-managed by the neighborhood association through their president, their board, the tow company, and the property manager.
I understand what the people in Prado do. I've seen one car parked in that spot quite frequently, and I've assumed that it's probably somebody who lives across the street. And I think that's a problem. And I think perhaps if the board sees the same car there, should take the license plate number and then report that. And perhaps Castle Management can send them a friendly reminder and say, you know, that's not what this is for. The roving patrol, I think he'd have a hard time trying to enforce it unless he gives one to every car that's in there when he goes by. How does he? Well, you can put the chalk mark like the police do.
Every car in there.
Well, usually there's only 1 or 2.
Yeah. And
I mean,
it would only be the 12 to 6 timeframe that they would do it, right?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, if it was 12, I feel you're right.
But again, you have to remember, what are the expectations from the neighborhood and what is the schedule to drive this entire community and to do it at what we're asking the patrol officer to do? They may, in one shift, get into Prado twice.
If they go past, I'd say from 12 to 6, if there's a car parked there and it's in their normal routine, then they should put a notice on it.
What's the feeling of the other members?
I've got a question regarding the town center. The town center is the responsibility of that guard now, correct? That's PPCA.
He's not he's a PPAC.
He's a
PPAC.
He's a CDD.
He's paid for by taxpayers.
Yeah, so
by the CDD.
Again, they provide oversight and report it to the club manager.
So we're doing that. It seems to me we could do this service for
yes, I agree.
For Prado.
For Prado. I agree.
Anybody object to that?
Yeah, I think 12 to 6 is great. I don't know how they would enforce it at other times of the day. And I would prefer to my wonderful friend down there to give us some guidance on it, because I really appreciate the problem. And the few times I drive through there, I've seen one car there frequently.
I have two.
Yeah,
And I mean,
But-
I don't have a problem with them parking there is my problem, but you're right, they shouldn't be. And
and
if they're there overnight, they should get a reminder.
yeah, I totally agree with that.
But is it a parking spot, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
It could be the guy has one extra car and no place to put it on his street or in his home.
And that's.
So
that's
he's
true.
putting it in a parking spot.
Yeah, but he's putting it in the mail kiosk parking spot.
Ron and Doug, any objection to us doing that?
I have no major objection. I'm kind of with Teresa. Do I really care if there's a cart parked in one of the 8 spots there between 12 and 6?
Well,
I don't know that I care. I have no problem with the security guy putting a friendly reminder on the windshield saying you're not supposed to be here.
Bill Sirico claims that they would like to do that.
that's fine.
That the
I-
the
I
board
see
of-
no pro- I see no problem. I have no problem with that, Phil.
Okay,
I think it's a consensus of the committee that we'll do that, Scott.
I will pass that on to the board.
okay. Any other member requests or audience comments? Okay. Next meeting is the 8th of April.
Okay,
I would invite
Move to adjourn.
we have a motion to adjourn. Do I ever hear a second?
I'll second.
Second, Teresa and Glenn. The meeting is adjourned, 4:31. That's a little painful.
If anybody wants to come to my house and help me bail out and throw junk away, you're welcome.
That's sad. I'm sorry for it.
Don't throw junk away. Save it for
I
the
will tell you something interesting.
garage sale.
I talked to Carol Brookie, and she has about 20 people that have had the problem.
Yes.
The insurance
Really?
man, well, listen to this.
she
The
think?
insurance adjuster walked in my house and he said, the minute I saw your address, I knew I was in trouble. He said, I've had 50 water problems in Pelican Preserve.
Yeah.
And then their insurance inspector called me up.